All right, let's talk a little bit about vintage sats. When you hear the word vintage, you might think of antique cars, wine, or even jewelry. Well, money also has a special place in the world of vintage assets, and Bitcoin is no exception. In the Rarest ecosystem, a vintage satoshi is one that was mined in a Bitcoin that came in one of the first 1,000 blocks on the Bitcoin blockchain. So if you own a vintage satoshi, it means that you also own a very small piece of a very old Bitcoin.
Another reason why rare satoshis would get a premium price would be their provenance. For example, the first 1,000 blocks of Bitcoin that were ever put into circulation, we are about to cross 900,000 blocks, but the first 1,000 blocks are called the vintage satoshis. Every satoshi that is in circulation today that belongs to the first 1,000 blocks of Bitcoin now has an added value because it's considered vintage.
Vintage sats often come along with the Nakamoto trait, because Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious creator of Bitcoin, mined so many of the early blocks himself. It was his experiment after all, and it took some time and convincing to have others join in and mine along with him. Owning anything of value that has the vintage tag attached to it has historically been a pretty good bet. So it's no wonder that so many rare sat lovers find themselves gravitating towards this category. The tokenomics here are very straightforward. 1,000 blocks of Bitcoin back then equals 50,000 Bitcoin worth of rare sats. And at the sat level, that equates to 5 trillion satoshis. And if that sounds like a lot, it's because it is. But is it in comparison to its other sat-based brothers and sisters? As of this recording, there are over 19.8 million Bitcoin that have been issued by the protocol since its inception back in January of 2009. Out of that over 19.8 million Bitcoin, only 50,000 of them are vintage. And then you gotta consider that a lot of those coins have been permanently lost because back then, they were basically worthless and weren't treated with care and caution like they are today. So, comparatively speaking, we can see that vintage satoshis are actually quite rare. And since they represent roughly the first week of Bitcoin's existence, they will always hold unquestionable value for representing the very beginning of something that changed the history of money.